Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into something vital for Canada's future. Can we actually turn all our innovative ideas into a digital economy that's, strong and truly ours? We're looking at a detailed roadmap to 2030. It comes from the Information and Communications Technology Council, the ICTC, and this deep dive. It's specifically for you, sort of a shortcut to getting really informed on this.
Yeah, and our goal here isn't just to list facts. We want to pull out the really important bits, the key insights from this pretty comprehensive report, help you understand not just what Canada's digital future might look like, but why these specific actions matter so much for our economy, for our place in the world.
Right. Expect some real aha moments, maybe some surprising things about the choices Canada's facing on this global digital stage.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack this term first, the digital economy. It sounds techy, maybe just startups. What exactly are we talking about?
Well, it's actually way broader than just, tech companies. The digital economy covers pretty much all economic activity, all transactions that happen using networked digital systems. Okay. So yeah, that definitely includes people working in the ICT sector, but also, and this is key, people in digital tech roles across almost every sector. Think agriculture, healthcare, manufacturing. It's everywhere now. Really ubiquitous.
And the numbers I gather, they really show how big this is already.
Oh, absolutely. The current impact is pretty staggering. In 2024, it added about $223.45 billion to Canada's GDP.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a solid 10% of the entire GDP. And it's not static, it's growing fast, an average annual rate of 7.67% over the last decade.
7.67%. That's huge compared to the overall economy, right?
Exactly. It's growing nearly 5 times faster, so it's a massive engine.
And jobs. What does it mean for Canadian workers?
Well, right now, about 2.48 million Canadians work in the digital economy. That's around 12% of the whole workforce. And get this, employment in this sector is shot up by 51% between 2014 and 2024.
51%.
Yeah, compare that to just 15% growth across the entire economy in that same period.
Yeah.
It's clearly where a lot of the job creation is happening.
Okay, so it's already a major force for growth and jobs. Looking forward, the report sees even more potential. If we get the policies right, it could hit, almost $250 billion annually by 2030?
That's the estimate, yeah. $249.65 billion. It's a big jump, but it also really underlines the strategic importance, like you said. Beyond just the dollars, it's strategically vital. Think about adopting advanced tech like AI, artificial intelligence. That alone could boost Canada's productivity growth by 1.5% every year for 10 years.
Okay, that's significant productivity.
It is. But here's the catch, maybe. Canada's really good at research, academic papers, that sort of thing. We publish a lot. But we tend to lag when it comes to actually commercializing those ideas, turning them into products, and getting businesses to adopt the tech.
The classic Canadian story sometimes. Great ideas, but maybe not capitalizing on them here. Is there a number on that gap?
There is, unfortunately. In 2021, there was a $27 billion gap between what Canadian businesses spent on R&D compared to the OECD average.
$27 billion.
Yeah. And this isn't just lost money. It impacts our national sovereignty, our long-term ability to compete. When our best ideas end up getting commercialized somewhere else, we're basically exporting future jobs and control over our economy. It's not just funding either. Sometimes it's about risk aversion, maybe not having enough capital for companies trying to scale up, so they look south.
That leads us perfectly into the roadmap itself. The ICTC report gives 9 core recommendations, a path forward. Let's dive into those, starting with how we build a more competitive digital scene here. So recommendation 1 is about enabling a competitive landscape.
Yeah.
How does the report suggest we actually do that? Create the right conditions.
Right. It starts with harmonizing policies, making things consistent across the country. This includes using market-based regulations and also what they call smart regulations.
Smart regulations.
Yeah, basically rules that are tech neutral, they don't pick winners, and that can adapt quickly as technology changes. It also suggests using regulatory sandboxes.
Okay, what are those?
They're like controlled test environments. New tech or business models can be tried out there without facing the full immediate weight of all the regulations. It helps speed things up, lowers barriers for smaller players.
Makes sense. Easier for new ideas to get off the ground.
Exactly. And beyond that, it talks about enhancing ICT market access. So enforcing antitrust laws, especially tackling monopolistic practices. Telecom is often mentioned here to get more competition. Also easing foreign ownership rules in some areas, promoting trade between provinces, and strengthening our international trade links. Basically opening things up.
Okay, and here's something you hear a lot about. Strengthening startup ecosystems. Canada does have a good reputation there, right? How does that fit in?
Oh, absolutely. We rank, believe it or not, among the top 5 countries globally for startup ecosystems. Cities like Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary, Ottawa, Kitchener-Waterloo, they're all recognized internationally.
Right, the corridor.
Exactly. And we've got great incubators like Mars Discovery District, Creative Destruction Lab. They're vital for nurturing these companies. And it's showing in the investment, too. 58% of the nearly $7 billion in VC funding in Canada in 2023 went straight into ICT startups.
That's a big chunk. So the foundation is strong, but where's the but? Where do we need to improve?
Well, the report really stresses the need to get more funding, more support out to the underserved rural regions.
Ah,
Those areas have different needs. Think agri-tech, natural resource tech. Digital innovation can make a huge difference there, but they often lack the access to capital and infrastructure that the big cities have. It's about spreading the benefits.
yeah, equitable growth. Good point. Okay, moving to recommendation 2. Create a robust digital infrastructure. Makes sense. You need the foundation for all this. What's involved?
This is absolutely fundamental, the bedrock. For instance, expanding access to AI compute power. Canada is great at AI research, but we actually don't have enough domestic computing muscle to run and scale the really complex AI models we're developing.
Really? So we invent it, but can't fully run it here.
Often, yeah. The government launched an AI compute strategy late 2024, and there's a $705 million federal program for sovereign compute infrastructure announced early 2025.
Okay, $705 million. Sounds like a lot, but how does that stack up globally? What are our competitors doing?
Well, to give you some perspective, the U.S. has this thing called the Stargate project, reportedly $500 billion for 20 new AI data centers.
Wow, okay. Big difference.
Huge. And France, they're
Uh-huh.
putting in around $109 billion into AI infrastructure. So while our $705 million is a start, you can see the scale of investment needed to really compete at the absolute top tier of AI compute. It shows the ambition elsewhere. We also need to accelerate quantum computing and quantum technology. That's another huge future industry, projected $139 billion market by 2045, potentially 200,000 jobs.
And Canada's good at quantum research too, right?
We are. We account for about 5% of the global quantum talent, top 10 in research. But the big challenge, again, is keeping that talent here, fostering it and retaining it so we get the economic benefits.
Okay, this next one's interesting. Digital trust and IDs. Why is having a sort of official digital ID system so important?
Well, people want it, for one. 70% of Canadians are asking for fully digital government services, and 87% expect that shift by 2026.
But do they trust it?
That's the issue. Only half of Canadians currently trust the government to protect their info and online services. Estonia is often used as a case study here. They show how a well-done digital ID can really transform services and efficiency, and an economic impact. A widely used digital ID could boost GDP by up to 3% in advanced economies by 2030.
3% of GDP is massive. Beyond convenience, what else? Fraud.
Big time.
Okay.
It's crucial for fighting fraud. Over half, 54% Canadians said they were targeted by digital fraud in 2024, and 20% of Canadian businesses were victims of payment fraud. A secure digital ID helps prevent that. But, and this is critical, it has to come with super strong safeguards, protecting privacy, ensuring people control their own data, informed consent. It has to empower people, not control them.
Got it. And then there's the basic plumbing digital connectivity.
Yeah.
Getting everyone online?
Yep. The goal is nationwide high-speed internet by 2030. And really prioritizing rural and remote areas, the gap is still pretty stark.
Oh, sorry.
Broadband access is only 62% in rural areas versus over 91% in urban. And for First Nations communities, 61% still lack service. Even mobile coverage on rural roads is only about 87%. Closing these gaps is essential. Plus, things like 5G deployment, that alone is projected to add $40 billion to GDP by 2026. And we need to keep improving, investing in 6G and beyond.
Right. You can't have a digital economy if people can't connect. You also mentioned semiconductor supply chain security. Why are those little chips so critical?
They're literally the brains of everything digital, the foundation. Canada has about 500 firms in the semiconductor and electronics space, contributing $1.3 billion to GDP, employing 16,000 people. Now, our industry isn't as large as it was back in the early 2000s, but it's very innovative. We're world leaders in some specialized areas, things like compound semiconductors, crucial for high-speed wireless, or photonics, using light for super-fast data transfer. These niche technologies are often the key ingredient in cutting-edge tech, so ensuring we have reliable access to these global supply chains is absolutely vital.
And the flip side of all this digital activity is cybersecurity. What's the threat level for Canada? What should listeners be aware of?
It's serious. Canada faces increasingly sophisticated cyber attacks, both from criminals after money and from hostile foreign governments trying to spy or disrupt. Just recovering from these incidents cost Canadian companies $1.2 billion in 2023 alone.
$1 billion
Yeah.
just to recover.
Exactly. And what's really worrying is the talent shortage. We have a major gap. 1 in 6 cybersecurity jobs in Canada is currently unfilled.
1 in 6, what does that mean practically?
It means we're vulnerable. Our defenses are stretched thin. That increases the risk for everyone. Data breaches for individuals, shutdowns for businesses, even national security risks if critical infrastructure gets hit. It's a systemic risk, not just a business cost.
Wow. That's a sobering point. Okay, let's shift gears to recommendation 3. Catalyze and bolster innovation and commercialization. This sounds like where we tackle that R&D gap we talked about, turning ideas into Canadian success stories.
Precisely. One part is expanding trade agreements, things like CETA with Europe or the Horizon Europe Research Partnership. They open up new markets for Canadian tech companies, give them global reach. Another piece is business R&D incentive. The main one is the SR&ED tax credit scientific research and experimental development. It's big, $4.2 billion a year, helps 20,000 companies.
Sounds good. So what's the problem?
Well, the report points out that often it doesn't actually lead to the company commercializing the product here or scaling up in Canada. Too often, the intellectual property, the IP, gets developed with Canadian support and then sold off to a foreign firm.
So we fund the research, someone else gets the long-term benefit.
That's the risk, yeah. It undermines our own growth and that digital sovereignty idea.
Okay. What about universities? Their technology transfer offices, the TTOs. Aren't they supposed to bridge that gap?
They are, and they're vital links. But they face challenges too. One stat mentioned was that at a major Canadian university, 2/3 of their licensing deals were with companies outside Canada.
2/3. Wow.
Yeah. There are initiatives trying to help, like Elevate IP, that's a $90 million program, and the Digital Supercluster. They aim to help Canadian entrepreneurs hold on to and manage their IP, but it's clearly an ongoing struggle.
Which leads right into IP protection itself. Canada ranks 14th globally on the Innovation Index, which sounds okay. But what's the reality for Canadian businesses and IP?
Right. That 14th rank hides a few things. Only about 18% of Canadian businesses actually own any intellectual property, and almost a quarter of firms that do R&D choose not to protect their IP.
Why wouldn't they protect it?
Costs, sometimes they don't see the benefit or they worry about being able to enforce it if someone infringes. The World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, estimates Canada could have produced almost 2.5 times more digital tech patents between 2001 and 2021 than we did.
2.5 times.
Yeah. And many innovators end up registering their IP or even selling their whole startup outside Canada, usually in the US. There is a Senate report really hammering this point. We need stronger IP protection to keep innovation here and attract investment. The economic cost of letting our homegrown IP walk away is just immense. And tied closely to this is research security. We need to be vigilant against IP theft, especially by hostile foreign actors. This is critical for dual-use technologies, things like quantum computing or AI that have both civilian and military uses. There are national security guidelines for research partnerships now to help universities and researchers navigate this.
Right. Okay, let's pivot slightly to recommendation 5. Develop Canada's digital economy talent. We need the people to power all this, right? What does that mean for the workforce?
It means a lot of change, frankly, preparing people for rapid shifts. IBM thinks something like 42% of the Canadian workforce will need reskilling because of automation and AI.
42%, that's almost half.
It is, and executives feel it too. 61% of Canadian execs say tech is advancing faster than their company can retrain people. These skill gaps, they actually account for about 7% of the productivity difference between Canada and the US.
So it directly impacts our competitiveness. What's the solution?
The report suggests things like micro-credentials, short, focused training programs as a flexible way to upskill people quickly.
Okay, and what role does immigration play in this talent picture? Canada relies heavily on skilled immigrants.
Immigration is absolutely key. But we have a problem, a persistent mismatch between education and occupation for newcomers. Get this. Nearly 27% of recent immigrants with a bachelor's degree or higher end up in jobs that only require high school or less.
27% compared to
about 13.5% for Canadian-born workers. So it's double the rate. This means lower wages for them, slower careers, less job satisfaction.
And we risk losing them, right?
Exactly. We're losing about 20% of our newcomers to onward migration. They move to another country. And 34% leave within the first 5 years. It's a brain drain we can't afford. We desperately need better strategies to integrate people properly and keep them here. And finally, on talent inclusion, it's critical. Women are 48% of the total workforce, but only about 35% of the digital economy workforce. Indigenous participation in tech is 3.4 times lower than in the general population. Creating real pathways for these underrepresented groups isn't just about fairness. It's absolutely essential if we want to reach our full talent potential. We need everyone involved.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move to recommendation 6. Boost digital technology adoption for Canadian businesses. We've talked about talent and infrastructure. How do we get businesses, especially the smaller ones, to actually use this stuff?
Yeah, this is crucial, especially SME support. Small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs. There are 1.2 million of them. They employ almost 8 million Canadians and contribute nearly half of the private sector GDP. They're the backbone. But the report found only 5% of Canadian SMEs were really using digital tech effectively, even though 91% said they were investing in technology.
So they're buying tech, but maybe not using it well, or using the right tech.
Seems like it. And look at AI. 73% of Canadian businesses aren't even considering adopting AI right now. Only 14% call themselves early adopters. The previous government program, CTIC Canada Digital Adoption Program, had issues. It was maybe too complex, not flexible enough. We need a better version to really help these businesses integrate new tools. And this connects to the idea of digital maturity. It's not just about buying software. It's about fundamentally changing how you operate. Customer interactions, internal processes, product development, using digital tools at the core,
Right.
really transforming the business model.
And you mentioned AI. What about those generative AI tools we hear so much about? What's the potential impact on productivity, and why aren't more businesses jumping on board?
The potential is really significant. These tools could boost productivity by maybe 8%, save the average worker 125 hours a year. For highly skilled workers, maybe even a 40% performance boost.
20%.
Huge potential. Yet almost 73% of Canadian businesses aren't considering them. It suggests they see risks, maybe a cost, maybe disruption, maybe they just don't know where to start. There seems to be a real need for government support to help de-risk that experimentation and investment. It's a massive opportunity being left on the table right now.
Okay, let's zoom out to the big picture. Recommendation 7. Develop an industrial strategy for Canada's digital future. Why is a specific strategy like this so important for Canada globally?
Well, in today's world, countries that strategically pick key sectors where they have strengths and really focus on growing them, they tend to gain a big advantage. And Canada does have unique strengths we can build on.
Like?
Okay, first, natural resources. We've got vast reserves of critical minerals, rare earths, nickel, cobalt, lithium. 34 minerals on Canada's official list. This isn't just about digging them up, it's an opportunity for refining, processing, creating value-added products right here. Plus, our clean tech sector is world-class. It employs 190,000 people, exported nearly $21 billion in 2022, mostly to the U.S. 9 Canadian companies made the Global Clean Tech 100 list for 2025. That's impressive. And things like carbon capture, utilization, and storage CCUS. Canada has huge geological capacity to store CO2, 389 gigatons. The global market for this tech could hit $26 billion by 2025. Big export potential. Then, obviously, technology and AI itself. We have those world-class research hubs, Toronto, Montreal, Edmonton. But as we said, adoption by businesses is lagging 35% here versus 72% in the U.S. So an AI industrial strategy has to focus hard on commercialization, protecting our IP, and ensuring ethical use so we actually benefit from our own research strength.
Okay, what about combining AI with another Canadian strength, agriculture? AI for precision agriculture and food security.
Yes, huge potential there. Canada has almost 190,000 farms, producing $93 billion a year, employing over 247,000 people. Our agri-food exports hit nearly $100 billion in 2023.
Wow.
Precision agriculture using AI, sensors, data, it can boost crop yields by maybe 4%, significantly reduce fertilizer use, which saves farmers money, maybe up to $25 an acre for U.S. corn farmers, for example. The global market for this agri-tech is estimated at $100 billion. But again,
You need the rural connectivity.
you absolutely need that reliable rural digital infrastructure for this to work. It all ties together.
And the last area mentioned in this strategy section, life sciences and health innovation. How can digital tech help our healthcare system? It certainly faces challenges.
It really does. Despite spending a lot, Canada lags behind other high-income countries with universal health care when it comes to access to doctors, hospital beds, advanced medical tech. We're looking at a projected shortage of 44,000 doctors by 2028. Yeah. But digital tech offers real solutions. Things like electronic health records, wearable sensors for remote monitoring, telehealth, AI helping doctors with diagnosis or treatment planning. These are already making a difference. But to really scale up health tech innovation and attract investment, we need that robust digital infrastructure underpinning the whole system. Better data flow, better connectivity, it's essential for improving access and outcomes.
Okay, that covers the industrial strategy piece. Let's move to recommendation 8. Accelerate sustainable development for Canada's digital future. How do we make sure all this digital growth is green growth, especially given the energy demands?
That's a critical question. Sustainable energy is huge. All this advanced computing AI, quantum, it uses a lot of power. Data centers already consume 1 to 1.5% of global electricity and cause about 1% of greenhouse gas emissions.
1% globally,
Mhm.
just data centers.
Yeah. And look at Ontario. Their electricity demand is projected to jump 75% by 2050, and data centers already account for 4% of today's demand there. So we need clean energy solutions. The report mentions nuclear things like small modular reactors, Arcandi UTech, plus renewables, biofuels, green hydrogen. We need a mix. And we also have to focus intensely on energy efficiency. AI itself can actually help here. AI-driven systems can manage smart grids better, make energy distribution safer and more efficient, like for pipelines. AI could potentially cut greenhouse gas emissions from commercial buildings by 8 to 19%.
So AI could be part of the solution, not just the problem.
It can be, but we also have to be honest about the environmental footprint of making all this tech the whole ICT supply chain. And AI data centers alone could account for 1.2% of global emissions by 2027. So efficiency isn't just nice to have, it's essential. It's a balancing act.
Right. What about the stuff itself, the devices,
Mhm.
the circular economy?
Yeah, e-waste, electronic waste. It's one of the fastest growing waste streams globally. Canadians generate between 20 and 25 kilograms of e-waste per person each year.
Per person.
Yep. It's projected to hit 1.2 million tons annually in Canada by 2030. And right now, we only recycle about 20% of it properly. So, circular economy approaches are key recycling components. Reusing devices, repairing them, finding new uses like repurposing old EV batteries. It cuts down waste, reduces the need for new mining, and actually makes our supply chains more resilient.
Okay, that brings us to the final recommendation, number 9. Earn public trust and promote citizen engagement. This feels like the foundation for making any of this actually happen, right? Getting Canadians on board.
Absolutely critical. It's the glue. And a huge part of this is tackling misinformation and disinformation. A survey showed 72% of Canadians think disinformation is a threat to our democracy. And a lot of it comes from hostile foreign actors. Now, with AI generating incredibly realistic fake text, images, videos, deepfakes, it's getting even harder to tell what's real. We need safeguards against this manipulation, but and this is crucial. They have to protect Canadians' charter rights, like freedom of expression. It's a really tricky balance. And then there's privacy and individual data sovereignty. People worry, quite rightly, about their sensitive data being stored on servers in other countries where Canadian privacy laws might not apply.
Right.
That's why the report suggests critical internet exchange points, the places where networks physically connect, should stay within Canada. Keep the data under Canadian jurisdiction and legal protection. And, very importantly, we need special consideration for data sovereignty for Indigenous communities, respecting their rights over their own data.
So bringing this all together, it's clear Canada has this massive opportunity, right, to really grow the digital economy, harness these powerful new technologies like AI and quantum. And the report seems to say we have the ingredients, the resources, the skilled people, the research base, decent governance, global connections.
We do. All the pieces are potentially there. And the policies recommended in this roadmap, they really try to emphasize fiscal responsibility, letting the private sector lead where possible, and streamlining government action. That's the proposed approach to navigate the challenges of the fast pace of tech change, market ups and downs, global uncertainty. But maybe the final thought for you, the listener, to really chew on is this. How will these kinds of policy choices actually shape your daily life? And what role do you, as an informed citizen, play in making sure this ambitious digital future works out well and works out for everyone in Canada?
Powerful questions indeed. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We really hope it's given you a solid understanding and maybe sparked some curiosity to keep exploring this crucial topic for Canada's future.